Audio Echo Digital.
With over 10 years of video experience, he has met and worked with a variety of talented individuals, from actors, actresses, directors, producers, writers, content creators, musicians, and filmmakers. From his humble beginnings as a young volunteer at his local church to becoming an award-winning filmmaker, you get to hear stories of his long journey to success. Welcome to the One More Chaunce podcast, hosted by filmmaker Chauncey Jackson.
A few weeks has passed since speaking to Van over the phone, and I was on a mission to find my camera. My very first camera. Now, around springtime, especially in April, we all know what happens. We have to file our taxes before April 15th. I filed my taxes early, around March, and I received a pretty good tax refund. So with that refund, I decided to use the money and invest in buying my very first camera. Now for me, I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to buy a camera, it has to be a camera that I'm going to use and a camera that I'm going to be proud of. I went on Google, started searching about digital cameras, and I saw links to DSLR cameras. Now, DSLR cameras are digital single lens reflex cameras. Now, these days, we have mirrorless cameras and cinema cameras, so DSLRs, I'm not saying they're obsolete, but hardly anybody has them or uses them as much. My brother, Tashawn, recently started his photography business. And I believe he was about maybe 5, maybe 7 months in. So he's new. So I decided to call him and say, hey, bro, I'm looking to buy a camera, but I don't know where to start. I don't know if I should choose Canon, Nikon, Sony. I don't know. So my brother said, hey, bro, just start with the Canon. Start small and build after that. I said, okay, cool. So I went on Amazon and I searched Canon DSLR cameras. And the camera that I saw was a Canon T3i. Now, in 2011, the camera cost $899. In 2023, the camera cost $250. Ain't that something? But anyway, I bought the lens, I bought 2 batteries, and I bought an SD card. The total price came up to $1,100. I bought the camera, and of course, I waited about maybe a week. And I don't really think that they had Amazon Prime back then. But either way, a week, I didn't mind waiting for it. I got the camera, and I just love the new camera smell. Is it just me? You know, I know some of you guys aren't videographers, but when you get a camera and you get that new camera smell, it just smells like happiness. Because I remember when I bought my Fuji X-T3 last year, around the summertime, it just, that smell is like if joy was a smell, it would smell like a new camera. Anyway, I turned on the camera, and I think the first thing I did was I just went in my bathroom and just recorded myself. And I think I still have the video, by the way. I gotta search for it and find it, because I have so many hard drives full of raw footage that I gotta go through. But it was just a good feeling, like I invested in something that I'm going to utilize and learn from. I called Van and I told him that I bought my first camera. He asked me, what did I buy? I said I bought a Canon T3i. He said, okay, those aren't bad cameras to start out with. He also told me to go out and shoot anything and everything. Learn as much as you can from the camera and study as much as you can about it. That camera was like my best friend. I had it with me everywhere. Took it to work, took it to school, took it to family functions. If we had road trips, I took it with me. I remember I took the camera with me to Chicago for my family road trip that we had, but that's a different story for a later time. My good friends Stephanie and Dan invited me to an event called Formula Drift. Now, I never heard of this event beforehand, but I kind of got the idea of what occurred there. Fast cars, fast food, fast women. I'm playing. But the cars were so dope. It's like Fast and Furious on steroids. And that was a perfect time for me to bring my camera. We were out there all day and I was taking photos. I was capturing footage. And I remember it was a beautiful day because the sun was out, no cloud in the sky. The weather was pretty cool. And I was ready to see the drag racing of these custom cars. That was my first time capturing B-roll of any type of action with my camera. I can recall in the moment capturing these fast cars that I was just shooting just to shoot, just to learn how the camera would handle lighting, how I was going to be able to stabilize my camera because I didn't have my tripod with me. So I was trying to be as stable as possible. And I'm seeing these cars just speed down the runway. The event went so well. I had a great time. I went home. And now is where the editing begins. In episode 3, I mentioned that I learned how to edit by creating music videos from the movies that I got from uTorrent. Now my perspective has changed because now the videos that I have to edit or clips that I have to edit are mine. However, me learning how to edit still didn't change. So I got the clips. I found a nice track that made sense based on the video coverage that I captured. And I started editing on my computer, but it wasn't on Pinnacle. It was on Sony Vegas. I created like maybe a 3.5-4 minute video, and it was pretty good at the time. Now I was like, oh god, this is terrible. But at the time I thought it looked pretty cool. It had slow motion in there. It had the it was a simple video. It was a simple video. And when I watched it over and over again, I thought to myself, this is my first ever video that I can call my own. And just like I did with episode 3, where I showed you guys my first ever edited video of the movie music video, as I close this episode, I'm going to play the actual video of what I shot at Formula Drift in 2011. So this is my first ever video that I shot and edited. Thank you guys for listening to the show, and I will see you next time.
Let's have a game with happy and sad music. When you hear the happy music, play your rhythm sticks or clap, just as you did before, like this. Let's have a game with happy and sad music. When you hear the happy music, play your rhythm sticks or clap, just as you did before, like this.
Thank you for listening to the One More Chaunce podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.